Hey everyone, it's Tiffany from Let's Get Scrappy, and today we are going to attempt to do this tutorial for this trifold folio. So I've already shown these before, but it is just a simple trifold that I use when I'm using up my scraps from papers that I've done another mini album with. So it's a great size. It's 4.5 by 6.5 with 1-inch spines on both sides. And I also use my, what do you call it? My scraps of my chipboard. So my leftover chipboard cuts. I use that for this too. So that is what we are going to make today. And I'll just warn you, I don't do a lot of tutorials, so bear with me. And like I've said several times, I mess up on every album, some way, somehow. So again, you just go with it if that happens, but just wanted to kind of put that out there. Here is the collection that I used. It's Echo Park's A Perfect Winter. So I have the full collection, and I didn't use scraps today. I just used sheets from this collection. And if you need to know how many sheets you need, I did 1 sheet of the 3x4 cut aparts for the waterfall and some of the design elements, and then 5 designer sheets. And I literally, let me just show you real quick. This is all I have from those 5 sheets. So it pretty much gives you enough to do maybe a couple cards or a couple tags. So, and I did use solid cardstock as well, just to put that out there. So I might have to, depend upon how long the video is, might have to do it into a couple different videos, so we'll see how it goes. But what we will start with is doing our cover. So we will need 2 pieces of 8.5 by 11. You will also need 2 pieces for the spines, 1 inch by 6.5. And then 2 that are 4.5 by 6.5. And I do my middle one a tad bit bigger, just so when it folds a little bit nicer, at 4 5/8 by 6.5. You don't have to. You can do this album with just 3 4.5 by 6.5 size chipboards. So it's totally up to you. This is a medium weight chipboard that I use. You don't have to use chipboard. You can use a really thick cardstock to make it if you wanted to do that. But on mine, I use chipboard. So to get started, let's see here. I always score my sheets for my cover. Again, you don't have to. If you're really good at this, you probably just eyeball it. I don't like to. I like to have a guide. So I just do 1 inch on the long side, then I rotate it to the right, do another inch, so that way when I go to lay down my chipboard, I have a guide on both sides. Then my second sheet, I just do 1 inch on the long side, and that's it. So just like that. And then we will stick these 2 together. And you guys will have to let me know if I'm going too fast when you see this video, so on the next one I could slow down a bit, but I'm trying to do this as quick as possible so that way the video is not really long. And you could always do what I do and just pause the video wherever you need to, or rewind. So I just do 3/8 inch of my score tape, but you could also glue, totally up to you. I always put it on my mat where I can line up my paper, but where the score mark is a guide of how I'm going to line it up as well. So when I'm using score tape, I just flip up a corner like so, and it doesn't have to be perfect. So I just line it up right there on the bump. Stick it down, and then pull it up, just like so. Do a little burnish, and then, so just a little bloopers that I did already. So I started this video, and because I didn't do this like I normally do, where I just kind of lay out my chipboard, I of course stuck one down before I was supposed to. And I'm sure some of you that have been doing this a while have done that as well. So this just reminded me that I needed to lay my pieces down to make sure I put them in the right spots. So you don't have to use score tape. You can use glue, whatever adhesive you want to use. Totally your preference. For me, on my covers, I like score tape. But you'll see I do use both wet adhesive and then score tape. So I just line that up on the two lines, and then that's kind of my snap line of where I will be lining everything up. So in between the chipboard pieces, I do 1/8 inch score tape as my guide. You don't have to. I like it, one, because it's a nice guide to keep things lined up for the most part. But then also it helps reinforce when we go to fold up the album, the spine. It helps the paper not to crack. Sometimes it still does. There's not much you can do about it because it's happened to all of us, but I usually just go with it if that does happen. But I do like this in between, and there's several videos out there on how to make a chipboard cover. So I know I definitely won't be doing this all the time because once you've done one, it's just basic. So I should have made sure I burnished these down, and we will burnish at the end. Of course, I'm trying to hurry, and I know I'm gonna mess up because I'm trying to get through this video a little faster, if at all possible. So again, just lining up with that bottom score line. Then we'll shift this over. And like I said, you can eyeball it, or your space, or you can put two pieces of your chipboard together and use that as a shim. But I'm pretty sure, I mean, I know the only reason why I'm really doing this cover is because there was a lot of people that said they were, well, it wasn't a lot, because it's not like I have a ton of people, but there was quite a few that said they were new to making mini albums when they requested to have the style made. So I thought I would attempt to try to show how I make the cover. So again, and then we will put down our last piece. And then we'll get this one down. Okay, and then we are going to burnish really quick to make sure it's all down really good. My little pokey tool keeps peeling on me. Okay, so I think that's good. And again, this is something that you could just eyeball, but I like to put mine in the paper trimmer, and I just line up my chipboard with the 1 inch mark right there and just cut off an inch. You don't have to be perfect. It's gonna get folded up anyways, but I'm a little OC on that, so that's just my thing. And then I just peel these up here. And then I add my adhesive. And again, this is totally your preference. You don't have to do it like this, you can glue it. But what I'm doing is 1-inch score tape. I used to do where I would put score tape here, like the 3/8 inch, and then I would put score tape here, and then I would fold it over. But it was just way more work. So now I just do the 1-inch. And even if it goes over a little bit, it's fine. It's still gonna stick down, so. And it also helps, again, with the cracking of the paper. It won't do it as much, if any, at all. I really hope that you guys can see what I'm doing. And I'm just doing all 4 sides. Like that. And if you guys are wondering what I use, this is from, you can find these pretty much at any craft store. It actually usually has like a washi tape stuck right here, but it has a blade and it works out perfect. So I've been using this for years. Works for me. I cannot use my fingers to rip score tape. I don't know how others do it. I cannot. It comes off really crooked, so it just does not work for me. So I'm just going to burnish that down. And I have even, like, Tuesday morning, every once in a while, we'll have that washi tape, and I'll just buy it for the washi tape, or buy the washi tape just for the blade part. Okay, so now we're going to cut the corners, and I just eyeball it. You pretty much just want to make sure you have, you know, it doesn't even have to be 1/8 of an inch off. But I just go through. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm not, but I'll just cut the corners. If for whatever reason, if you're too short when you go to fold it, just save your angles until you need to, and just glue that on before you stick it down. But a lot of it gets covered anyways. And if I've ever done like a black chipboard, if I've messed up, I just used marker and colored before I put it down or stick it down, and that's worked out too. So totally your preference. So it looks like that. So we're just going to kind of bend the paper. And I have a feeling this video is getting really long, so we might have to have a few videos on this as I hit the camera. Okay. So far so good. And we're just going to, and again, this is just me being anal, so I like to make sure it's kind of lined up with the chipboard, and then with that score tape on there, it sticks to it, which is great also. And then just kind of bend it a little bit, and then I just kind of stick it down in the middle. So just like that. I have no clue what you guys can see and what you can't. Oh my gosh, this is going to drive me crazy. See how my thing is peeling? And I do have a few of these. So I guess I'm going to have to kind of retire that one. Or it can't be when I'm doing videos, because it's going to drive me insane seeing that red stuff everywhere. Okay. So one more. Burnish that down. And then I just kind of turn in the corners. And this corner is a little funky, so I'm just going to trim it a little bit. Okay, take the adhesive off. This is for sure the longest tutorial that I've done so far. So again, just let me know. I mean, be nice, please. Don't be mean. but let me know how this is, if it's easy enough to follow along. We have that one down. And then I just kind of those in there. We will, so what we'll do on this part is just, because I'm going to cover the middle with just white cardstock. But I like to, if you don't, make sure that you have these glued down by the folds, like that there's some type of adhesive, it bubbles up. And I just try to, on mini albums, I try not to be stingy with my adhesive. If it's like a quick card, that's a little different, but albums that we want people to keep, I always try to be a little bit more generous with the adhesives to make sure it stands up over time. And this is just 1-inch tape. Just like that. And then we'll burnish that down. So there is that. And then we're going to take this off. And the great thing about this album is we don't have to make a hinge for pages. So let me just grab. So I could have had this prepared, but we'll do, let me take off. So a sheet that is 6 1/4. We'll just cut that really quick. So I just do 6 1/4 by 9. And I didn't cut that all the way, so just that size there. We're gonna set this aside. And I still do score tape on this. And again, you could do wet glue, which I probably should have for this video, would have been faster. But we will go ahead and get this going. And once I get this on there, we will stop the video and do a second one to finish the base of the book. So I just burnish that down, and then we're going to stick it on, but I do add a little bit of wet glue onto the actual book, so you'll see that in just a second. And again, I just do that to make sure that it totally sticks down, and if there is any bubbling, it's minimal, but most of the time there is not. So you can just kind of see right here, there's going to be a little bit extra in between the adhesive. So I just like to get some here, line there. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I might go overboard with all of it, so you probably don't even have to do it all, but this is just what works for me. So again, burnish that down really good. You do not want the paper to bubble up when you fold it. So if I can see, so here's our first fold, and then our second fold. So So that'll look like that. I'm just going to turn that. I really hope that you guys can see this okay. Oh, I know that this table is kind of shaky. So that is our cover for the book. So we will stop here and then we will start up another video showing how we do the inside.